Good morning, how are you? So I just started to teach a class on Shavuos and the story of Ruth, and I found that I had to stop midway. I just couldn't do it, probably because I gave that class and I posted it and it was too quiet and nobody could hear it, and I just can't say the same thing twice. It just doesn't feel organic. So now I gotta start again. And I do have something to share. I need to share what happened with me yesterday, and it was kind of groundbreaking. So one of my kids, my youngest, he whines a lot and he gets angry a lot. And it's really disappointing because, like, I thought I was a good mother, And here's this kid and he's exhibiting all these behaviors that are basically obnoxious. Like, I wouldn't like them in a different child. And I don't say this to say bad about my son. This is, we're going to get to that. But I am sharing that because, we all get off course. And here I am parenting all these kids. And thank God he's my youngest. And I can feel like I got to start again. This kid is not doing well. Like, everything he says is whining. If he doesn't get his way, he can throw things. He can get so mad at the tiniest request, and I just realized that I was giving in a lot. Like, I just felt defeated. Like, this, I don't really know what else to do. So I gave it some real thought because I knew that I needed to start again. And I also knew that one thing that parents do very, very often is to make charts. And I can't make charts. It's like, it really stinks, but I can't be consistent enough to make charts. By day 2, I'm out of the chart already. I actually bought myself a chart at the dollar store, from the teacher section to make for him to keep his room clean. And he's like, "Ma, where's my stickers?" It's so hard to keep to a chart. And I don't believe in it anyway. I believe that, there's a certain amount of rewards that is really a punishment, because you never learn to do the thing. You just learn to, do something for the reward. Like, those same kids kept their room clean for 3 weeks in a row to get this little light show that it shines up on the light, and there's a CD on the ceiling, and there's a CD that plays along with it, and it shows you pictures of the stars while it tells you about the stars, which is really cool. And after 2 or 3 weeks, the room stayed clean. Then they got the gift. Then the room stopped being clean, so they didn't learn anything. So I really felt like I'm at my wit's end. Like, I tried different things, but I thought about this child. And 2 things came to me. And if you have a kid like this, I want to just share this with you in case it could help you. I thought about how much structure he needs and how little structure I sometimes provide. And I thought, this kid needs more, and it's not going to come from me because, like I said, I'm not Miss Charts. What should I do? So I sat with him and we made a schedule. And he made the schedule. I typed it up. So it looked something like this: 7 o'clock to 7:30, wake up. And we talked about who's going to wake up, how you're going to wake up. So he really wanted to get up at 7. All of a sudden he got so excited about the schedule. But no. Okay, so he's getting up at 7:30. Then I just left it open to him. Like, so what comes next? Get dressed. Okay, get dressed. What comes next? Eat breakfast. Breakfast. What do you want for breakfast? And he said, well, I don't want the same thing every day. I said, okay, so, like, what do you think you would want? So we wrote down cereal, oatmeal, whatever. Then free time, then carpool. And suddenly, this kid who's been like sliding into school at 9, he realizes he wants to be there. The first guy, 8:20, he wants to be there. We write it down, 8:20, carpool. And I tell him exactly how it's going to be. Okay, if we get here at 8:20, this and that, I'm going to have to drop them off first. Are you okay with that? He's okay with that. Now, what had been happening is that he would come home, and the kids have this new routine where they listen to a Harry Potter audiobook, which is cute. It's a nice, relaxing thing to do, and one of the kids has trouble reading. It's nice for her to hear an audiobook. But the thing is, how computers are. They just take over. So it would be like he'd come home and say, can I listen to Harry Potter? And then I'd say, not now, 6:30. And he'd say, now, how come this, how come that? But I just want to, until 6:30, which was such a drain on my energy. And it left him so whiny, like as if he's missing something that he wants so badly. So we wrote down, come home, 4:15. What are you having for a snack? We wrote down possible snack times. Then we wrote down 4:15 to 4:45. Look at that. 4:15 to 4:45, playtime. 4:45, okay, the whole thing. Then by playtime, because this kid needs so much structure, I wrote, okay, what kind of things could you play with? We wrote down Lego, Play-Doh, bubbles, paint. He never plays with bubbles, but even, I gotta go buy some, but even having that option, it gave him like, it lifted it off his brain. So now I come back to report. I'm only reporting on day 1, but it's called magic. I wake up, the kids I wake him up, he's fine. I drive some kids to school, I come back, he's all dressed, ready for school. And he says, wait, we didn't write down to pack my lunch. I said, that's because I'll do it. And I didn't want to write that down because that's on me. He said, okay, I'll wait in the car. So he was ready early, no argument. By the way, he went to school without socks. I wasn't going to like tell him go inside and get on your socks because he thought he was all dressed. Good enough. Tomorrow we'll plan his clothing. I love new beginnings. What is exciting about this? It's not a chart. What's exciting about this is a few things. The first thing is the realization that, and it's not such a realization, we all knew this, just the reminder that we all do better with a schedule. Think about how much you get accomplished on an off day versus how much you get accomplished on a work day. When you know what to expect, it's like boom, 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 you knock it out. Here's this kid never knowing what to expect, plus being the youngest, so he's learned how to push all the buttons, and it's very chaotic for a child when they don't know what to expect. And there are some people who are naturally organized, and this is amazing, but if you're more of a free-flowing person and you just kind of get things done, like I definitely get things done, I'm not bound to a clock, I just keep on moving and doing my thing. And then if you're that kind of person, it's very easy to despair of keeping a schedule, getting your kids to bed on time, getting their homework done, getting the housework done, getting the laundry done, getting the dinner done. It's like, how do these women do it? When's it all going to happen? I don't know how that happens. I'm busy being like a nice person, or cooking, or exploring, or researching, or helping a child, or, on the phone, helping a person. Like, how do I get all those things done? So I guess the breakthrough for me here was that I don't need to, because by the way, having a structured schedule is not my need, but it is my child's need. So instead of trapping myself into this place of, I can't do that, I can't be on that schedule, which is always my frustration, I put it into his hands. Okay, well, you do need a schedule, so let's see what your schedule is, and I will then come in and support your schedule. It's like when you ever have a kid who goes on a diet, if you have a kid who's old enough to go on a diet, like what they really want you to do is cook 3 meals for them and serve it, on a plate, practically spoon feed it to them. Like, but Ma, I need this, I need that. But it's so much more empowering for them to tell you what they're going to be eating, and you make the food available and have them cook it so that they own it and they can learn to make healthy choices by themselves. So this is what I feel is why this is so much better. Why I'm starting the day and there's no like panic in me, like, oh, I have to, like, I would make so many schedules how I'm going to improve and get my life together and I'll have dinner at this time. No, you know what? That's his need, but I can still give him the things that he needs. What sparked this inspiration, and I wouldn't be sharing it, like I didn't share with you my bedtime chart at the beginning because it's just a chart. I don't really believe in it, but I do believe in this. The inspiration for this was actually Carol Tuttle's work. She has a book called The Child Whisperer, where she talks about 4 types of children, and this type of child, the type 4 child, is all about structure. There's some kids, by the way, if you're a very structured person, that they're type air. The air needs fun. If you don't make it fun, they feel suffocated and they just feel so stifled and the life goes out of them. So that's on the other side of the spectrum. So that was the inspiration for this. And I think that it also is making me acknowledge how much structure works for me, not structure. You see, I fight against structure, but how much scheduling, let's call it scheduling, works for me. There are days where my brain feels so scattered that I actually write down when I'm going to eat and when I'm going to make a certain phone call, because it's like too much of a free flow that I feel overwhelmed. And imagine being a kid who feels that way all the time. Of course you'd be whiny. The other thing that came up yesterday as I was talking to a friend was about limits and about children needing to know that you mean business. So I was talking about how being a strong parent, you never ever lose. Like, in my opinion, there's no such thing as too strong of a parent. Like, even if your kid just is annoyed at you and can't stand you, they're still learning those lessons of responsibility that are valuable for their entire life, and they're still learning to respect you. So the guy said to me, yeah, I am. I mean, I gave an example. He said, yes, I do that example. Like, our daughter's clothing was on the couch. We said, get rid of the clothing. And then the next day her clothing was still on the couch. I said, put your clothing upstairs. The next time it was still on the couch. I took those clothing, I threw them in the front yard. So I said to him, that is fantastic. That's fantastic. But I would challenge just one thing. Throw it out on the yard the first time. Because when you didn't do anything about it the first time, she thought she could do it again. And then she thought she could do it again. Obviously, I'm not saying to beat up your kids. But I'm saying if something matters for you, you got to follow through on the first time. Because the kids are like us. We look for consequences. We look for how much we could possibly get away with. What's the fastest speed we could go when we drive that we can get away with? Or all kinds of things. What's the least amount of work we could do? Some things, of course, we're passionate, we want to excel, but essentially people, we look for consequences as clues to what's important in this world. If I don't pay this on time, I'm going to get a fee, I'm going to get a consequence. Wow, that's really important, right? So with kids also, you give them safety by letting them know, here's the limit, here's the boundary, and that boundary is not moving. That's a wall of safety. You won't ever have to venture beyond there. When I say this, I mean this. So along with my daily scheduling, we wrote up some rules together. So they're the K&A rules. Don't tell them I told you, because it's a code. Never speak in negativity. Even in the Torah, it doesn't say lies. It doesn't say, when it's talking about lies, we don't say lies, we say untruths. They're untruths. What does that mean? You just don't want to even speak anything negative. So I don't want to say kvetching, that means whining. I don't want to say kvetching in anger. I want to say K&A. So I say we got to make some K&A rules. So what are our K&A rules? K&A rules are, if you K, then you got to go upstairs for 5 minutes. Do you agree? Do you think that's a good one? Do you think that's a good one? Good. What about if you K&A? What about if, and we wrote down, not too many rules, just 3 rules. And one of them said, if there's no K&A for 2 days, we're going to get, a trip to the dollar store with a couple of dollars. So that was another way of kind of clarifying what exactly happens if you don't follow through. And that is a gift, because he helped me to make those rules. So coming into Shavuos, I guess it does kind of tie in, because it's so easy to not want to have anything to do with religion. I don't think I would if I was, I don't know what I would be like if I didn't grow up like this, but, conceptually, someone's calling, one sec. Conceptually, having a list of rules sounds like such a pain, and it sounds so suffocating, and we don't want it, the little child in us just wants to do whatever we want to do, but what we land up with is depression. We have our own K&A, kvetching and anger. We complain, we're angry, things don't go our way, we're just unsettled, unfulfilled. Like my little child was. He was really unfulfilled. He woke up not knowing, well, what does the day demand of me? I don't know. I'll try the easiest route, to cry and get my way. We were given the gift of the Torah, which means here's a treasure. Here's how you're going to spend the day. This is the schedule of events. When you wake up, you say, Moda'ani, thank you for waking me up. And then you wash your hands, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then you do that. And guess what? You get the reward. If you don't, if you do this, it says right out what the reward is. The reward in this world and the reward of the next world. And the bottom line reward is the peace of mind of knowing that you spent your day in a great way. Do you know how good he's going to feel at the end of the day? I printed it out for him, and he's going to make little checks. He already had it by breakfast. He actually came to me because I didn't print out the second page that had all the rules. He's like, wait, where are the rules? He wants the rules. I'm going to tell you something. We all want the rules. We think we don't. But rules bring structure and safety. Obviously, not arbitrary rules. Arbitrary rules make you insane and make you feel like you're living someone else's life. But rules that are for your benefit, delicious. They're the best. So that is one of the celebrations of getting the Torah before Shavuos. And I'm going to go celebrate my day, pack up some tichels, and just be really, really grateful that I was given the help and the insight that I was needed, because we all try to be good parents, and to be a good parent takes a lot of prayer. There are so many times when you just don't know the next move. Especially as my kids get older, the next moves get trickier and trickier and really, really trickier. And the popularity contest is so over. Like, I feel this intense responsibility to just guide my children. I can't explain it. But it's not just about being liked. Sometimes the kids ask for things right now, teenagers, that I really got to say no to. We have to say no to, and we talk about it, and it's big discussions with me and my husband, and we have to say no, and it's very painful because the kid is mad at you. But I feel the responsibility of being that strong parent. And one of the things that gives me a lot of strength with my teenagers, I'll just say, is a brother-in-law of mine a nephew of mine, who was a self-proclaimed rascal. I don't know what kind of mischief he did, but, according to him, he, I don't know, got kicked out of school, this and that. Just, it was a rascal of a kid. And I look at him, and he's such a great guy, and I say, so what did your parents do? He said, they did everything. They tried everything. I said, but what worked? He said, none of it. Or all of it. When I was ready. So it took a couple of years. Maybe it took till he was 20, till he was ready. And his parents' job was just to keep on being the strong parent. Not necessarily to look for clues that every move that they make will have the exact result right then, but just to toe the line of being the parent. Kids don't know how hard that is. It's so much easier to give in and to just let go and to not make all the phone calls you need to make and to not be strong for them. But it pays off in the end. It really, really does. So when he tells me that none of it worked, that's actually my source of my greatest source of strength. I hope he hears this, so I could be telling him, because I see, what worked? What worked is that he had stable, loving parents who looked out for him, and eventually he had his own soul journey, and he came around and married my niece. Lucky for us. So that's all for today. Wishing you a beautiful day. Wishing you every blessing. Wishing you the strength and clarity to be there for your children and to welcome the gifts in your life. Wishing you an open heart, that you're able to accept the Torah and the gifts that it brings, not with K&A and not with fetching and anger, but with clarity, that you have direction in life and you're going to have an awesome one. Bye.